Franklin talked with U.S. sea captains. He found that they knew each turn of the Gulf Stream. They used the currents in every possible way. But the British captains knew much less about the Gulf Stream and made little use of its currents. From his talk with U.S. sea captains, Franklin made his first map of the Gulf Stream. Then he checked his map by using bottles. The map that he finally made is still used, with only a few changes today. Around 1860, the British Navy began to use drifting bottles. Officers of a ship would drop a bottle containing a form that gave the name of the ship and the place and date of the dropping. Finders were asked to write on the form the place and date of finding the bottle and to return the form to the British Navy. About 30 years later, the U.S. Navy began to use the same system. This system is still used, with forms written in 8 languages. About 350 of these forms came back to the United States Navy each year. From the reports, many useful charts have been drawn. Fishermen need to know where the currents are. In order to help its fishermen, Scotland paid a scientist to study the currents in the North Sea. More than 2,000 bottles were used in making this study. The same method is used today. The U.S. government also uses drifting bottles to help fishermen find fish whose eggs float on top of the sea. Bottles are dropped among the eggs as floating markers. Following the bottles out to sea, fishermen find the floating eggs and catch the fish. Over the centuries, seagoing bottles have carried messages of great human interest. Sailors in trouble have written many of these messages. A group of boys playing on the northeastern shore of the United States in 1944 found a bottle with a note in it. The note said, "Our ship is going down. This is the end. Maybe this message will reach the U.S. someday." Navy experts found the note had come from a U.S. Navy ship named Betty. The ship had gone down off Gibraltar in 1943, and many lives had been lost. In 1953, a bottle was found in Tasmania with a message signed by 2 lonely Australian soldiers. The soldiers had been on a ship that was taking them to France in World War I. The mother of one of the soldiers recognized the handwriting of her son. He had been killed in battles 35 years before the message reached her. If you ever find a bottle on the shore, look at it closely. It might be part of an important scientific study of the ocean currents, or it might contain a message from a lonely person in a distant past or a faraway land.